welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Rose Ann Forte, and she's an alcohol-free coach, a positive intelligence coach, an international best-selling author of the book, The Plans He Has for Me, a 12-week daily devotional for freedom from alcohol. Welcome to the show, Rose.
Thank you for having me, Ajay. I'm so excited to be here and talk about this.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India. And what you are going to speak is a problem that you are solving for people across the globe. So I hope a lot of people are able to see this, watch this program, listen to it when it goes on to the podcast, or even read it when it goes on Substack and Medium. So we'll be talking about, overcoming alcohol challenges that will transform your life and also your finances. So, Rose, to help us understand, why do people become alcoholic? I don't drink in that manner, so I fail to understand. Is it that some people are more prone to it, some people are less prone to it? How does it work here?
Yeah,
Let's
and
start from the basics so that then we'll touch the other finer points.
so one of the approaches I'm using is kind of getting rid of that word alcoholic because it produces so much shame. And I do want to say that alcohol is a substance and it's an addictive substance. To address your kind of question or comment about, is it hereditary? For some people, it absolutely is. So it takes a very short time to get addicted to the substance. For me, it took decades. I just practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I fell victim to it. And there's, for people, there's a line that you cross and you don't know when the line, it's like nobody gives you a warning of when the line you cross the line. And I call the line, to kind of get rid of all this preconceived notion about alcoholic, and I'm not one of those, and I don't drink at 8 a.m. and I don't beat my wife. There's just a lot of preconceived notions. But I like to say the problem develops when alcohol starts controlling your schedule as opposed to you controlling it. And that can happen really early on, because we are sold a bill of goods by the alcohol companies about how it creates more fun and how it relaxes us, how it you get the girl or the guy. There's just so many things that the companies tell you that aren't true. Or one of the biggest reasons people, and this is to your audience, right? And to me, I was a C-suite executive myself, and to reduce stress, and for a moment it does. It calms the central nervous system. So that's why we get kind of romantic, or we fall in love with alcohol, because it really does calm the nervous system temporarily. But the thing is, it actually increases your stress because now you have to wonder about what you did, what you said. You have a bad night's sleep, right? It creates sleep issues. You wake up, you're not as productive, and you still have the problem that you started with at the beginning. So I try and create this awareness around the lie. I'm going to do this because it reduces my stress. Well, for a moment, but then you've just ended up increasing it, doing the exact opposite of what you intended. Yeah.
Right, Rose. But you say that there is a way out of it. Like you found your way out of it with a lot of effort. So, how do people get started? You talked about 12 weeks, very important for getting out of changing your relationship with alcohol. How does it work? And as I asked, how do you tell all these people who are struggling with this sort of an addiction, but want to, not have that sort of a thing? They understand. How do they get out of this whole stuff, and that they can get out of it? Help
Yeah.
them understand.
Well, I'm sitting here telling you can, and there's so many people that are on the other side and say, "Oh my gosh, life is so much better." To first address your question about the 12 weeks, it kind of follows my pattern to where when you're so beholden to a substance, imagining a life without it is way too difficult. It's way like I've got to quit this forever. Like no. And so what I did is I quit for 3 months and I had a coaching program. And what I encourage is let's do it. Let's just get your mind wrapped around 12 weeks to see what's possible. And with the devotional, I actually document that journey. Wait, I'm sleeping better. Wait, I'm more efficient. And wait, I have more clarity dealing with my customers or my employees. I'm more connected to my wife. I'm paying attention to my children, right? I feel better. I'm not recovering from hangovers. So it's about giving your body a chance to recover from it and document like this really is a better life. Like this is a far better life. And that's for me, I was so transformed over a 3-month period that I'm like, this is really secret sauce here. I had lower blood pressure, lower weight, lower resting heart rate, more confidence, more joy, more peace, more connection to people. Like, okay, there aren't many guarantees in life, but there's a few guarantees you can give people when they put alcohol to the side. And one is a healthier body. Two is more confidence in your decision making. And yeah, and three is more effective and efficient. Yeah.
Right, right. And money stays in your own pocket. It does not go to the companies who try
Oh,
and paint a rosy picture. But Rose says it is not so rosy at that end. It is rosy this side. So be this side. But tell me, Rose, here is that why do people suffer when they know that life outside of alcohol or addiction is so much great, so much better? Why do they still suffer and not find help?
yeah. And that is really, oh, you just asked the big question, didn't you? Um, I think one of the reasons is the shame that people are assigning to that. And that's what I'm trying to get rid of. Two is the reason substances are addictive is because they are it's literally rewiring your brain. And I need this to be happy. And there's a dopamine effect. And the more you use alcohol, the less dopamine your body is creating. So you're needing those dopamine hits. And so it is why it's hard is because your brain is lying to you. The substance is creating lies. And that's again what I try and do is be here on the other side, tell people to give it a chance and document the benefits and then you can choose, but understanding that you are assigning a higher priority to it in life that is real, it just creates a reality for you that that needs to be unraveled is all I can say. Does that make sense? Hopefully I
Yes,
just
yes,
because
yes,
that
yes.
was a really hard question. Yeah, but
No, no, but yeah, but so it is like, you know what, you keep on trying to look at various solutions to the problem that continues to be there. And sometimes several solutions can one become the actual solution to a problem. One solution is not enough all the time. As you said, some people can be more prone to getting
Mhm.
addicted to anything. Some people may be less addicted to to anything, especially anything like alcohol. So, for normal people, how do they get started on this journey? Is it like that you just decide and leave it? Is it that easy? And then what about the withdrawal symptoms? A lot of people find that very difficult. What do you do with that? Now, the problem is that not everybody has that support system or the money to go to
Rehab.
a proper, yeah, exactly, that sort of a help. So all they have to do it by themselves. How do they do that?
My experience is a very small percentage of the people have an issue that needs medical attention. But if you do have DTs, delirium tremens, that's a medical attention issue, where you wake up in the morning and you need it. I have coached people that started drinking at 8 a.m. and they didn't need medical attention. You are the one that needs to decide if you need medical attention, and that's a whole different thing. And in terms of, you are a very good question asker, by the way. In terms of how do people start, here's the unfortunate reality that I have witnessed and experienced. There needs to be an event, and maybe several events, where you go, enough is enough. And that is an unfortunate thing about addiction. It could be you did something embarrassing at work, your marriage is about to fall apart, you got in a car accident, you got a health diagnosis. Many times and that was my thing. Mine was COVID. COVID was coming, and I'm in the United States. I was witnessing what was going on in Italy with the body bags being thrown into the cart, and I knew how severe my drinking problem was. And that sight was scary. And I kind of said, alcohol depresses your immune system and your lung function, two things that you really need to survive COVID. And I didn't want to die on a ventilator in a hospital by myself. So that was the wake up call for me. And again, I didn't say, oh, I want to quit forever. I said, oh, I need to quit. And I wonder what it feels like for 90 days. And I was pleasantly surprised. So, yeah.
Right,
Did
right,
did
Rose.
did that answer the question?
Absolutely, absolutely. You are the master for today in this show, and a master is actually giving a lot of great tips and understanding. And you have seen this road. You have seen the end of the road, and you have also retraced your steps and found the right road and moved out of that crossroad of life, and now
Right,
you are in the right path. So
right.
coming back to this question of uh, shame and guilt, Rose. In now, there are different cultures, different countries, and people react to this issue differently. In a country like India, where we have a much more different culture, where alcohol is not too much of a part of our culture. Though people drink, people buy, and a lot of young people, older people, they do have it whenever they feel like, or many people do not drink at all. But in a country like US, it is it is common to hear, okay, let's go for a beer, or part of the, even at home people keep it. In normal Indian families, you will not find alcohol in their houses. Maybe some urban places or few places they do keep it, but it's not very open. They want to hide it from children. Initially they'll call it, it's not a good thing, and then later on, as you gain your understanding. So how is it that a culture in the US, which is so open and understands these things, and it's a part of your, still people are face that problem of shame and guilt? And how do people manage it? How did you manage it? Did you feel the same? So that, you know what, I'm trying to find some way out for people in different cultures across the world, even in India, that when you are faced with a problem like this, you want to get well, how do you tackle this?
So you're talking about the shame?
Yes, shame and guilt.
Yeah, that's also a great thing that we need to address. And just so you know, the countries around the world really compete for having the worst alcohol problem. I've heard Australia has the worst alcohol problem. Ireland has. I've been on podcasts in Africa that like our problem is really severe, and all over Europe it's pretty prevalent. So. But in terms of the shame, I've kind of changed my answer recently. And it deals with, I heard it from a sermon from my pastor, because of course this book is faith based, but the difference between guilt and shame. Guilt is acknowledging, like, whoops, I've done something wrong and change direction. Shame is where you say, there's something wrong with me. And unfortunately, for people who get trapped in this alcohol thing, they tend to go towards there's something wrong with me, especially your audience, right? High achieving, I can do anything, I'm successful. Wait, why is this hard? Like they're not used to not being in control. So it starts to affect their mental well being. And, I've talked to pretty powerful executives that just like, how is this affecting you? Is it affecting your self confidence? Yes. And that starts spreading out throughout. So we really need to get rid of the there's something wrong with me thing. There really is something wrong with the substance. And we've been lied to about what the substance gives us. It's addictive. There should be labels on it. There should be warnings. There shouldn't be advertisements glamorizing it. People can drink. It's not a problem to drink. As like you say, Jay, that people drink, but it's when we start using it we think it's the only way to have fun,
Right.
the only way to solve stress, the only way to be romantic. That's when it starts getting to be a problem. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is where, a role of friends and family come in. So, what would you suggest should be the role of friends and family in this? Because many a time they are not trained for this. They feel bad, but at the same time, they feel angry also. Why do you have to drink so much? Why can't you control yourself? You are an adult. Is it that simple? Or and what role can positive role can they play in the lives of people who are struggling with this issue?
Yeah. Also, just a great question because so many deal with this. I mean, just so you know, worldwide, in the United States, it's said to have like 11.3% of the population has a problem. I think that is probably higher because a lot of people don't admit they have a problem. But let's just take 10%, right? For all of us that know 20 people, we know probably at least two people that are struggling with alcohol. But the natural reaction, especially if it's a spouse or a sibling or something like that, a parent, is to get angry and just do what you said. Why can't you quit? Just grow up. Now, remember the background of what's going on in their mind. Their self-confidence is going down. They already know, even if they're denying it, they know there's a problem. And so I think it's a combination of a lot of things. It's being compassionate and understanding that even in the most self-controlled of individuals, somebody can get caught up in this, and it's not easy to start the process. So compassion. Nobody ever got shamed into being excited to do something, right? I think that boundaries are important because you don't want to be victim to their drinking, but loving boundaries. And I think hope. I think, let's just say a spouse, right? And something happens the night before. you wake up, and probably this is the best time to talk to them. They have a hangover, they're not feeling great, they're grumpy, whatever. And just start with, I love you, I care about you. Do you understand what happened last night? Do you understand how this is creating problems in our relationship? What would be possible for us if we could get control of this? What would be possible? So it's love and compassion and giving them hope for something different. Not like, gosh, you did it again. You know what I mean? That's the natural reaction, but that's not the reaction that instills action. Love and compassion and boundaries. Like, you cannot do that in front of me again, or I need to be out of the, if you're going to, whatever the boundary needs to be, because you shouldn't be a victim to um, their behavior when under the influence. And so just this kind of balance to give them hope and to know that you're supportive of them, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. And now let's talk about the role of God. We talked about the role of friend and family. Let's talk about the role of God. Like it was, it was in your case in your transformation process. You recognize God's instruction embedded in the entire process, and you have also written the book. The plans He has for me. So, how can people bring God into this? That I mean, spirituality into it, and find that hope that we are talking about, and anything else that they may need in terms of getting to the best life that they should be getting and they
Yeah.
can get.
And what I found in my coaching of executives in a secular program, so no God, is they may have been successful for that time period, but then they chose alcohol again and they ended up in the same spot again. I think when people are struggling with something like this, they know that they need a higher power to help them through that. And for me, there's only one higher power, right? So I don't do that generic higher power. And I found so much wisdom, like biblical wisdom, matching up with the secular program. I'm like, wait, I've heard that before. Wait, I've heard that before. And so I'm matching science of the brain with personal suffering and biblical action. And I just think when God is involved, there's a purpose and a reason for you to continue that path. Otherwise, it's like, oh, why bother? Why bother? It's just too hard. But when we see something better, and my devotional is called The Plans He Has for You, and I tell them, I promise you, life is better on the other side. Just God has a better plan. And it's that hope-based thing. And I find that in my coaching program, it shouldn't surprise me, but I guess it did when I put it into action. The amount of people that said, I need God. It's time for me to have God in my life. So they come, and it's like, not only I want to quit drinking, but I need God in my life. And it's just one of those things that personal struggles lead you to a higher power. So it's a natural progression.
Absolutely. Yeah, blessing in disguise. God has a role in every being in this universe. It's just that we realize it only at the appointed time. And some people are much more, some as I said, blessing in disguise. Some problems can actually bring you closer to God. So it's all depends on how you want to look at it. And in difficult times, after difficult times, people certainly do say that it was the best learning. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. Such is life, indeed.
That's absolutely true. I love that perspective. Yeah, everything is used for a purpose in your life, even the greatest suffering. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now there is so much to learn from you, even about alcoholism, and to get this thing out of your life. So how can this is just one show, and obviously this cannot answer all the problems, but you are answering a lot of problems through your course, through your book. So how do people connect with you, especially know more about you, and also be a part of the program that you run? How does that work? Tell us.
Yeah, I'm on hiatus on the program, but you can connect with me by, first going to www.theplansehehasforme.com. And if you click the red button right on my website, you'll get access to 20 flashcards that give you various answers. Because a lot of people go, what do I say if I'm in a social situation and everybody's drinking? So I have a set of flashcards for you that can help you answer those questions with confidence, as opposed to like, oh, I have a drinking problem. No, there's so many different answers. So I can help you with that. If you buy the book, I have a private Facebook group where I'm helping clients, and encouraging and posting all the time. So you can get directly connected with me. I put my coaching program on pause because I'm developing a corporate program for faith-based organizations, because I think there's so much benefit from being in a group of people doing the same thing, not only online, but also in person. So that's how I'm helping people today, is I'm giving away those flashcards, and I'm in Facebook to help support you.
Great. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ajay. It's been a pleasure. You asked great questions.
Thank you.